trainers' dinner for the 151st running of the Kentucky Derby, brought to you by the Kentucky Thoroughbred Association. Representing the official wagering partner of the Kentucky Derby, TwinSpires, I am Andrew Brown. My co-pilot for tonight, Darren Sakali. Shortly, Darren and I will talk to all of the trainers that are privileged to have a runner in this Saturday's Kentucky Derby. Darren.
You know, Andrew, Kentucky is the global leader in the thoroughbred breeding and racing industry. Our stakeholders recognize that collaboration and hard work have paid dividends in the form of strong purses and first-class facilities. Thoroughbred racing has existed in the Commonwealth for 2 centuries and is crowned by the legacy of this historic race for 3-year-olds since 1875. Tonight, whether you're lucky enough to be with us in attendance here in this room, watching via the live stream either across America or around the world, you will hear firsthand from the trainers of the Derby field on their journey to Louisville and their thoughts on Saturday's race. On behalf of the directors of the KTA, we would like to extend a deep gratitude to our sponsors as well as our production partners, TwinSpires, Off to the Races Media, and Access for tonight's production. At this time now, we'd like to invite Bill Doherty, the president of the KTA, up to the podium to say a few words. Bill.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 2025 Kentucky Trainers Dinner. It's an absolute pleasure to stand before this incredible group. Over 400 people in the room, passionate, talented, occasionally mischievous, but always dedicated individuals who make Kentucky racing the vibrant and powerful force it is today. Tonight is one of the most cherished evenings on our calendar. A night to celebrate our trainers, share some well-earned laughs, and maybe find out who has the best sense of humor, or at least the toughest skin. Before we go any further, I want to offer our heartfelt thanks to the sponsors who made this evening possible. Your support not only powers tonight's festivities, but also strengthens the foundations of Kentucky's thriving thoroughbred industry. Our sponsors are listed in the program, and we thank each of you for investing in our sport and the people who made it great. Let's give a big round of applause to our sponsors. Now, I'd like to recognize some very special guests with us tonight. Please join me in welcoming the members of the Kentucky Racing and Gaming Corporation Board and its staff. And would you stand, please? And of course, a special welcome to the distinguished elected officials and members of the Kentucky legislature who are with us this evening. Your continued partnership with the racing industry has been nothing short of transformation. Thanks to your vision and collaboration, Kentucky just hasn't remained competitive. We've taken the lead. And I'd like to recognize our Kentucky Thoroughbred Association board members and the KTA staff. Your leadership and guidance are vital to the success of everything we do, plus tonight. These people are my brain trust. I've never been associated with a group more committed and innovative. Together, we've built something truly remarkable in Kentucky. Kentucky is home to the most prestigious races, the finest breeding operations, and some of the most accomplished trainers in the world. We are, without a doubt, the heart of the American thoroughbred industry. And speaking of our trainers, you all are the true heroes of the sport. If you'd been born in the 19th century, you wouldn't be sitting here in jackets and ties. You'd be riding shotgun on the stagecoach, chasing cattle across the plains, or maybe chasing outlaws if things got a little slow in the barn. You carry on the spirit of those early adventurers, gritty, fearless, endlessly resourceful, and utterly devoted to the animals in your cause. In a world that moves faster every day, you remind us that true horsemanship is timeless, and that behind every great horse stands a trainer whose heart beats just as strong. Tonight, we step away from the grind. Tonight is about community, storytelling, a little bit of good-natured roasting. So to our trainers, don't hold back. This is going to be your night. Share your stories, your barbs. Let's enjoy the wit, the grit, and glory that define this amazing group. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of this extraordinary industry. And thank you for helping make Kentucky the gold standard in thoroughbred racing. Let's have a good night.
Thank you very much to Bill there. I'd now like to invite up onto the stage the Honourable Jonathan Schell, the Commissioner of Agriculture for the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Jonathan.
Thank you, Speaker. It is good to be with you all. Bill, what a great job, and thank you to the Thoroughbred Association, Chauncey Morris, and everyone that deals with what we have here in Kentucky as the greatest 2 minutes in sports. And I just want to say a special thank you to everyone in this room. I came last year for the first time to the Kentucky Derby Trainers Dinner, the Kentucky Thoroughbred Trainers Dinner, and didn't know what to expect, really. And I'll tell you, I laughed so hard. This was an amazing event, being able to see the interaction between the trainers, the guests, and everyone that was here. And I told my staff, I said, that was amazing, and told Chauncey and all of them, that was amazing. Let's do that sponsorship again. And he said, that's not how you negotiate a sponsorship. So we're here again tonight, and I just want to say how proud I am of my staff and everyone here. If you look at your menu, you can see that we made a big difference from last year to this year on how much actual Kentucky proud, Kentucky local raised produce and protein that we have on our menus tonight. Just want to say a special thank you for being able to do that and being allowed to be a part of this association, this organization, and what this means for the state of Kentucky. And I can't thank you all enough for the participation and what this means for agriculture, showcasing Kentucky horses to the rest of the world. Kentucky horses and the Kentucky Derby are the gateway to internationally to what Kentucky means. And last year I gave you all a little bit of a personal history of myself with my grandmother and her smacking that couch as she was watching the Derby. And I want to give you all another thing that kind of talked to my dad, and I was asking him, I said, do you have a Derby memory that I can share? And the reason that I've got Burnham Square on my lapel tonight is because my dad told me today, he said whenever my grandfather and my grandmother were living, they never got to come to the Derby, but they always wanted to see the Derby horse, and so they would go to the Bluegrass Stakes in Lexington at Keeneland. And as that Bluegrass Stakes winner would win, they felt like that was probably a pretty good shot that they would have of being able to see a Kentucky Derby winner. And so that's who they'd always bet on at the Kentucky Derby, and they were always really proud to be able to be a part of that experience in that moment. Even though it's Derby adjacent, that's what I feel like Kentucky has, is Derby adjacent experiences a lot of times. We can't all be in this room. We can't all be in the grandstands. We can't all be down on the track. But everybody in Kentucky can take part in this special memory and this special moment that we have around the Kentucky Derby, the Kentucky thoroughbred industry, and what you all mean to Kentucky agriculture. Thank you all so much.
Well said, Jonathan. All right, the fun is about to begin, folks. So Kentucky Derby Trainers Dinner Tradition is presenting the winning trainer of last year's Derby with the Trainers Winner Trophy. And shortly I'm going to invite up Lee Hall from Hallway Feeds to present that trophy to Netflix's newest star, Kenny McPeak. Before we do that though, here's some highlights from Kenny's remarkable Derby week last year when he became the first trainer in 72 years to train the Kentucky Oaks Kentucky Derby double with Torpedo Anna and Mystic Dan.
For those who put in the extra hour because greatness is never achieved by cutting corners, this is made in your honor. A legacy built on quality and made to last. Made for tough challenges and even tougher spirits. The clear choice for those with choices, the fuel that drives champions, the feed that fuels dreams. Hallway Feeds, made for this.
this Friday with over 100,000 and everything on the line here adds the importance of this.
Oh, she's got plenty left, and Brian Hernandez and Torpedo Anna dominate the 150th Kentucky Oaks. They're all in line. We're ready for the start. They're off in the Kentucky Derby. Fierceness had an okay start. He came away in the middle of the pack. Forever Young is starting to pick it up as they come toward the top of the stretch.
They're off the turn. Mystic Dan cut the corner and grabbed the lead right at the top of the stretch. Sierra Leone and Forever Young are shoulder to shoulder with a furlong to go, but they've got 2 lengths to make up on Mystic Dan, who's begging for the wire. Forever Young and Sierra Leone keep on coming. Sierra Leone, Forever Young, and Mystic Dan. A wild finish. Here's the wire. Photo finish. 3 noses on the wire. Mystic Dan, Sierra Leone, and Forever Young.
Kenny McPeak and Brian Hernandez Jr., trainer and jockey, have done the first Oaks double-double since Ben Jones in 1952.
Oh, what a race. Gives me goosebumps. What a legend as well up there on screen at the moment. Kenny will join us shortly. But firstly, I'd like to invite Lee Hall from Hallway Feeds to say a few words. Lee, over to you, sir.
Well, good evening, everybody, and what a pleasure it is to be here. I should preface my comments tonight by saying I got a message this week, and the message was 3 digits, 272. And those of you here who know the official parliamentarian of KTA, KTOB, will know that was from Bill Landis. That meant you limit your total words to 272 because it worked for Abraham Lincoln in the Gettysburg Address. Now, what I found out afterwards is that Chris Baker only used 183 of his words a few weeks ago at the KTA Awards dinner. So I got a little buffer, I'm told. Chris loaned me those. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for being here, and thanks to the KTA, KTOB for the opportunity to present this award to the 150th Kentucky Derby winning trainer, Kenny McPeak. With your permission, I'd like to make a few comments about my relationship with Kenny and his with Hallway Feeds. Not long after Tejano Run's near miss in 1995, I caught up with Kenny on the backside of Gulfstream Park. For historical purposes, this is when Gulfstream still embraced racing and appreciated the significance of our sport in the state of Florida. As most good Kentuckians would do, Kenny took the time to sit a spell with me. We talked about growing up in Lexington. We talked about good food and drink. We talked about our families, and of course, we talked about Kentucky basketball. As our chat continued, I mentioned to Kenny that Hallway Feeds had developed a series of racing-specific feeds, and that Race 13 was the product that I recommended he consider using. Without too much hesitation, Kenny agreed to give it a shot. To borrow the words of Hallway Feeds customer and Hall of Fame trainer Bob Baffert, Kenny changed his feeding program that day. He started feeding better horses. And as they say, the rest is history. My purpose in sharing this with you is to reinforce that there is still great value in the virtue of loyalty. Loyalty to friends, loyalty to staying the course, and loyalty to your team. In addition to the 20-plus years of loyalty that Kenny has demonstrated to Hallway Feeds, I particularly respect the loyalty to his longtime rider, Brian Hernandez, in providing him the opportunity to be the 9th jockey in history to win both the Oaks and Derby in the same year. Kenny, if you'd come forward, I'd like to thank you for your loyalty. Congratulations on your success, but most importantly, thank you for your friendship. Ladies and gentlemen, Kenny McPeak.
Didn't J.D. Vance do the same thing?
Nothing a little super glue won't fix here. I got to go up there and make your comments.
I think he went over his 272 limit, and he was a little delirious.
Hey, Chauncey, here.
They can make another one, don't worry.
Go on.
Wow, that'll go down for a while, won't it? So, no, look, yeah, and I'm really honored to be here. You know, it's been a real journey. I thought when Tahana ran second in 1995, I thought, you know, I can do that in the next 10 years. I didn't think it would take almost 30. But you know, it's not supposed to be easy. There's a lot of people that have worked really hard for me over the decades. There are a lot of clients that have given me a lot of opportunity, and I'm thankful for all that. It's a real honor to be standing here. Here, let me help you down.
For every finish line, there's a starting point, and it's in the heart of Kentucky, where the bond between man, land, and steed has been forged through generations of hard work and perseverance, where the feed is grown, the land is nurtured, and every field tells a story. It all starts right here in the horse capital of the world.
All right, Andrew. Well, it's that time of the evening. Thanks very much to Kenny McPeak. You know, about this time last year, I stood up here and I told you Kenny McPeak was a very powerful and influential person. Yeah.
I remember.
Then he went on and he won the Oaks and he won the Derby, and he's so powerful that it's intimidating. You end up dropping a trophy right at his feet on top of it. So, yeah, Kenny McPeak once again showing his power and influence. We'll see what kind of magic we can pull this year out of the hat. We are going to kick things off tonight with a look back at the Louisiana Derby, and we're going to welcome up to the stage Steve Asmussen and Ethan West.
Louisiana Derby. Finishing first, TwinSpires, trained by Steve Asmussen. In second, Chunk of Gold, trained by Ethan West.
From out of the backfield, but it's Built, and Built has taken the lead here for Jose Ortiz. It's Built in front. John Hancock has given way. Right there is Chunk of Gold between horses, and on the outside, TwinSpires as they come past the 16th with Joel Rosario. It's TwinSpires now pulling clear from Chunk of Gold. Instant replay. TwinSpires on top of the Louisiana Derby. TwinSpires won by just over 2 from Chunk of Gold.
Pretty incredible what horse racing does. So on stage with us, we have the gentleman who's won more races than anybody in the history of thoroughbred racing in this country, and a 32-year-old trainer who has his first Derby starter, who was a $2,500 yearling. Only in horse racing, only in the Kentucky Derby can two gentlemen like this share the stage. It's just awesome. Steve, first question to you. Are you more excited about where your horses drew, or the fact that you only got to walk about 3 steps to saddle to both of them?
It does help. I shouldn't get lost in the paddock or anything this year, but awfully convenient. Yeah. Just blessed to be here. It is, as the introductory, me being we have the same amount of Derby wins as well.
Well, every year that I interview you, I don't like to bring that up, so I'm glad that you did it yourself.
As Kenny said, it should be hard.
Yeah.
And it's so special to be a part of the Derby, and it's something that means so much to so many people. Shouldn't be easy to do.
So last year you ran Tistastic actually twice on the grass in like a 10-day period at Kentucky Downs, and then he ran extremely well, won both races. Then you shifted him to the dirt. I'm curious, did you just take a shot and see what he was going to do on dirt, or did you think he was a dirt horse the whole time?
We'll stand up here and do an infomercial for Kentucky Downs, but it was the purses, obviously his versatile pedigree. He's just an athlete, and just very fortunate that he was able to do that. And it also aided him in the fact that he's the leading earner going into this year's Derby.
Full disclosure, I actually am part of an ownership group, Thorough Crowd, that has had horses with Ethan for 5 years. So my first question to Ethan is, we've been buying $2,500 horses with you for 5 years. What the hell am I doing up here? Why am I not sitting down there? No, we're just kidding. Obviously, we're all ecstatic and elated for you. Ethan, Chunk of Gold arrived in your barn earlier in his 2-year-old season. And I'm curious, when you first got him, how long did it take for you to realize, well, this does not look like a $2,500 yearling?
He still kind of looks like it. He's not, when I see journalism on the track and I see East Avenue on the track, I just cover his eyes so he doesn't get too embarrassed how good they look and how small we are.
You've kept the same routine. It's kind of a veteran move. Your first Derby starter, kept the horse at Turfway, just kind of what's been working for you. I'm just curious, did you feel pressure to bring him here early, or did you just decide from day one, we're just going to leave him at Turfway because we know it works?
I figured he got us this far by training at Turfway, so we were just going to keep him there as long as we could, and hopefully we can get the same result.
Back to Tistastic, Steve, he got a great setup in the Louisiana Derby. Obviously, there was a hot pace that day. He got a clean trip. The previous 2 starts, it looked like he caught a little bit of trouble, got stymied on the turn in a couple of them. The Kentucky Derby, is this a horse that needs a clean trip, or do you think with the 20-horse field he can stop, start, and still make that run?
I think any winner of this year needs a clean trip. You put 20 of them together, the variables. Very confident. He's in the hands of Joel Rosario. Ultimate confidence in him, but need a fast pace and a clean trip and all of the 1.25 miles.
Ethan, every horseman says there's two moments, even if it's your 30th Kentucky Derby starter, that are going to get you choked up. Walking your horse over to the paddock, and when they play My Old Kentucky Home, when the horses are on the track. Have you prepared yourself, your family, and those close to you for that moment, and what do you expect it to be like?
I'm sure it'll be pretty emotional. I don't really think you can prepare for something like that.
Yeah, and every year going into the Derby, there's 1 or 2 stories that captivate everybody. You and Chunk of Gold are one of those 2 stories this year. Have you allowed yourself to dream, if he pulls this off, what's going to happen to you starting Saturday night at about 7:05?
Probably get a call with a lot more $2,500 yearlings. It's hard to envision. It's like Steve's, one of the greatest, and he's still yet to win. I mean, not knocking him, but that's how hard it is to win. It's, it's very challenging, and, it's our first one, and we're just very thankful to be here.
You pulled this off. You're still going to train for us little guys?
Absolutely.
All right. Steve, while we have you on stage, any advice that you would give to Ethan, his first Derby start?
Enjoy it. Just realize how fortunate you are to be in this position. I've stressed a bit over it. It isn't going to change the outcome. Enjoy it.
Great pairing on stage. Our first 2 trainers, Steve Asmussen and Ethan White.
Thanks, Steve.
All right, up next, we are going to welcome up, it's going to be the connections from the Arkansas Derby. So Steve actually is going to stick around. He's going to be joined by trainer Mark Cassie and Lonnie Briley.
The Arkansas Derby. Finishing first, Sandman, trained by Mark Cassie. In second, Publisher, trained by Steve Asmussen. And in third, Cole Battle, trained by Lonnie Briley.
Cole Battle, Sandman going at it, and Publisher trying to break his maiden in the Arkansas Derby. Cole Battle has lost the lead to Sandman. Publisher, the only threat to beat him. Sandman, he's green, drifting around here. It's Sandman in front by 2. Publisher is second, and Sandman, he's run his A race, and he gets a confidence booster heading to Kentucky.
All right, we got 2 of the 3 on stage anyway. Well, Steve Asmussen, obviously Publisher, he's a maiden, so we got to start with that conversation. You brought it up, so I'm going to raise the question. Are you trying to be funny here? You want to break your maiden with a maiden in the Derby? Is that what's going on?
Whatever it takes, whatever dream scenario that it takes to do it. But the irony of that would be just too beautiful. You know, Publisher's a horse that came into the barn, beautiful as he is, moves great. He's always kept top-class company. We're been fortunate enough to have the company of horses that have earned their way in here, and he keeps representing well.
Mark, any truth to the rumor that Metallica is replacing my old Kentucky home this year?
I'm not sure about that one, but they're very excited about it, which is interesting. So, and I just wanted to mention, Steve and I have won the same amount of Kentucky Derbies. I've been doing it 47 years. How long have you been doing it?
35.
Yeah, long time. So this is, when I was 12 years old, I was interviewed on TV, and they said, what do you want to do when you get older? And I said, I want to win the Kentucky Derby. So it's been a long time. Still haven't done it, but we're going to do it this year.
Okay. There you go. That's worth applause. Mark, Sandman broke in a tangle in the Southwest Stakes. He hasn't had the best of breaks a couple of times, and in the Arkansas Derby, once he made the lead, he kind of wandered about a little bit in the stretch. Anything going on with him mentally that concerns you going into the Derby, 150,000 people, anything like that?
You know, he's extremely smart. So the break in the, what was the Southwest, I guess, that Christian was able to stay on, and he was able to run as good as he did. I said going into, I'd been a little disappointed in Sandman. I have always thought from the beginning that he was an extremely talented horse, and I was disappointed in him. Going into the Southwest, I said, we're going to find out whether he's a man or a boy. And even though we lost, I came out of that race extremely happy because I said we have a man. And as far as his drifting, I think Jose had said that he learned something very important. He hit him left-handed and he ducked out. He said he won't do that again. So, yeah, I don't think it was really. Sandman, too, he opened up. He was kind of wandering around. He's going to have plenty to focus on first Saturday in May, so we're not going to worry about that.
Steve, with Publisher, you entered him his first stake race in the Southwest as a maiden. Obviously, you thought highly of him, like you said. And then I went back and I watched the replays to see why you kept putting him in. I said, well, in the Southwest, he was making a move. He got completely stopped in the stretch. Then his second race, he was making a move on the turn. He got stopped again. Did you just keep saying, well, he keeps giving us a reason to keep trying because he keeps kind of getting cut off when he's in his best stride?
Absolutely. Like I said, he showed talent early and stuff. Very unfortunate with his trips. The addition of blinkers in the Arkansas Derby gave us considerably his fastest race. But I think the fact that the race is going 1 1/8 miles, that really sorts them out, sorts the traffic out, sorts a lot of things. And we're going to have to be able to stay to win the Kentucky Derby, and that's what we plan on doing.
Can I ask Steve a question?
By all means. Go ahead. Take some of the stress off me.
Take over.
Did the $1.5 million you were running for have anything to do with it?
Yes, it did.
There you go.
Mark, I'll have to ask about the elephant in the room with Sandman is that his 3 races at Churchill have not been his best. So some of the handicappers, they look at those races and look at that as a reason to, if he takes a lot of money to play against him. From the handicapping standpoint, anything to that logic?
Well, obviously, people always want to pick everything apart. Sandman's a lot better horse today than he was during those races. I think the distance, he wants to get himself together and come with a run. Steve may not agree with me, but I kind of feel, too, that in the spring, especially this spring, this is a different type of track than we had in the fall. And so I'm not really concerned about it. He handled Oaklawn great. They threw different racetracks at him. So I also, Jose Ortiz rode him the first 2 times and he didn't win. So I took a little criticism about putting him on, and that worked out fine. So I'm not going to lose any sleep over it.
Last question for you, Steve, from a handicapping angle. You put the blinkers on, Publisher. What did you learn from him with the blinkers on? Obviously, the result was great, but something you think that really sparked a little bit?
I think that he didn't wait around for the circumstances not to suit him. He acted like he had a little more direction. When he gathered him up, he went forward.
Appreciate it very much, guys. 2 live contenders, Sandman and Publisher. Thank you, Mark and Steve. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Steve.
All right, we're going to move right along to how we started the Trainers Dinner last year. It was an Abbott and Costello routine to start the Trainers Dinner last year. We'll see what they have in store for us. Up next, it's going to be Dwayne Lukas and Kenny McPeak.
At Anthem, we're dedicated to improving your whole health, connecting you to benefits that work when and where you need them. We're here to help you to feel protected and confident in your care, every step of the way.
The Virginia Derby. Finishing first, American Promise, trained by Dwayne Lukas. And in second, Render Judgment, trained by Kenny McPeak.
American Promise clear by 3 as they head for the final furlong. American Promise trying to pull the upset. Getaway car has given way. Render Judgment. Omaha, the Virginia bred coming down the center. But American Promise has a 5-length lead. 100 yards to hold it. Now it's 6 and now it's 7. The Virginia Derby to American Promise.
I had no idea we were getting a Dwayne Lukas tribute act here tonight. Come on up, gentlemen.
If you think I'm going to get up there with you and break that down, you're crazy.
Don't ever give him the mic last.
You get up there first.
He's got to talk first.
This floor
I'm
is
going
concrete.
last.
Do you need a hand?
Boy, I cannot. Are you kidding?
Oh, we're just getting started, old timer.
Well, there's three signs of old age. The first is loss of memory. You know, last year we made a joke about Kenny. We talked about Bob Baffert and I winning 10 Kentucky Derbies between us and kind of left Kenny out. Now we can't do that anymore. We know that last year was an accident.
You know, the first time I met Wayne, I was 22 years old and at Keeneland, and he was grazing a horse named Marfa. And I walked up to him, nervous. Not that much, though. And I said, I'd like to go to work for him. And we talked for a few minutes, and, you know, of course, he's worried about grazing his horse. And he says, well, young man, I'll give you a job, but you're going to go to Oklahoma for the winter. I said, Oklahoma? What's in Oklahoma? Do you remember you had a training center in Oklahoma at the time?
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know if I want to go to Oklahoma for the winter. But that's the first time we ever met. And I've always wanted to be like Wayne. And look, I'm doing this just to be fun. We actually have a lot of fun.
You got a long way to go, buddy.
Hey, he's never held back. I win the Belmont in 2002, and we're on the same floor at the Garden City Hotel. And we walked down the hall. We came out at the same time. I'd stayed up all night, but he went to bed at 8 o'clock. And we walked down the hall together, and I said, you know, I feel really good. I won my first classic before I turned 40. He slaps me on the shoulder, and he says, son, the way I look at it, it's 13-1. I'm like thinking, what? I mean, did you say congratulations? Nah. So we got on the elevator, and I was thinking about it. I said, you know, Wayne, the way I look at it, it's 67-39. He said, what's that mean? I said, your ass is 67. I'm only 39. So I've been chasing him all these years, and we actually do have a lot of fun on the backside and everything. So let's think about, and I don't know if we've got some pictures for when Wayne was a young man and how much his image has changed, right? So let's see what we got. Oh, look. Whoa! Man, you were handsome back then.
Got hair too, buddy.
Oh, look at that. Well, tell me about some of these pictures. How young were you then?
I'm getting older there.
Uh-huh. So, there's a good one. They didn't even have colored camera
look
back
at that
then.
sport coat.
Oh, wait. Check this one out. Look at that one. I got a head full of hair. Well, half a head full of hair anyway. So then I decided I'd move on to, oh, wrong guy. Keep coming. Man, you're dominating the pictures here. Typical. Oh. So I still gained a little weight in that one, didn't I, Wayne? Where's Skinny Kenny? Uh-huh. A few years ago. Oh, there's the big dog. Here? Skinny Kenny. Whoa! So everything's changed over the years. So Wayne hadn't been able to stay up late enough to watch this Netflix series. And I asked him what he thought of it, and he says he hadn't watched it yet because he said somebody said it wasn't any good. Well, I mean, come on, man, it was great. Didn't you see episode 3 and 4?
I haven't seen any of it.
So I've decided to completely change my image, all right? And Sherry, can you come up here and help me, please? Laurie, Wayne doesn't need your help right now, but he'll need it later tonight. So I want to proudly represent our sport, and I want to let you know I bought a tanning bed. And
now,
I'm moving to Miami, all right? And have you ever won the McDouble? That was last year. So in the meantime, I got a new outfit. So Sherry, can you help me out with this? Here, you can have that old timer. I don't need it anymore.
I got just 2 hands. Yeah, listen, you better take care of that gal right there, Kenny.
Oh no, folks. You don't want to see what I can see.
So after watching the Netflix series, I'm changing it up.
Okay.
Whoa.
What do you think, Coach?
Somebody did.
Oh, wait. Outstanding.
Wait, my button broke. Anybody got any glue?
Kenny, all I can say is you better take care of that lovely wife of yours. I heard a little story the other day you should know about. A woman went into the pharmacy and said to the pharmacist, "I need a vial of arsenic. I'm going to kill my husband." The pharmacist said, "Look, you can't do that. We can't give you that." She said, "I'm going to kill him." She said, "Here, look at this picture. This is my husband in the bed with your wife." The pharmacist says, "Why didn't you say you had a prescription?" Good. We're going to make America again. Trump is making America again. We're going to make the Derby again. I think if you're going to bet on the race, I think you got to go with the gray-haired guys. Pick out the trainers with gray hair. That means a lot. We're going to eliminate the bald-headed ones.
Well, I was thinking about coming as Jason Worth tonight, but I couldn't grow it long enough.
Gentlemen, should we talk some Derby?
No, I want to talk about last year.
I just want to ask a few questions before there's another Kenny McPeak wardrobe change because I'm not sure what would happen next. I don't think any of us want to see that. Mr. Lukas, what we saw of American promise there in that Virginia Derby and the way he's been training since, has it got you a little bit optimistic ahead of Saturday?
I'm very optimistic. I think we got him right where we want him. I'll tell you, the horse is 17 hands, and he's just now getting to act together. He's growing into that frame and everything. And we use the Virginia Derby as, you know, obviously to get the points, figuring that if we needed another race, we could use the bluegrass. We didn't need it. Ever since that day, he's trained beautifully. I got him right where I want him. I make no excuses. I don't want to trade with anybody.
Oh, one for your superfectors, folks. A son of 2018 Kentucky Derby winner, Justify. Any similarities?
They look a lot alike. Yes, they do. They're very, very similar. If you look at him and seen Justify, you could see it in him, very much so.
And you had your first runner in the Kentucky Derby some decades ago now, Mr. Lukas. You've had 4 winners since and plenty of success in all of the Triple Crown races. As far as Derby Week is concerned, a lot has changed in the time that you first saddled your Derby Contender, but as far as your Derby Week is concerned, what's still the same as it was 40 odd years ago?
Well, the thing that's changed the most, it's gotten real commercial. You know, we used to, years ago, I thought the tradition, the atmosphere and everything, the horses became more important. There was a kind of an association with each one of them. Now it's gotten so commercial. I think it's really commercial, and I think we're losing some of the effect of it.
Right. And what stayed the same, though? What's still the same?
Well, the thrill in putting your clients in a position that we all want to be in, on that Derby, in that winner's circle, which is only once a year. That's the key, right there. Kenny's been there, we've done it. We know what it's like, but I want to put Brian Coelho and John Bellinger in that circle.
Yeah. Nice. Kenny, Wayne means a lot to a lot of trainers, a mentor of yours. Can you tell us a little bit about just what he has meant to you over your career?
He set the bar so darn high that hardly any of us can reach it. And that's the amazing thing. I mean, the standards of how many wins and the way he runs his business. And, you know, I've always looked up to him since I was in my teens when I first started getting really involved in racing. And it's something the industry really needed back then. And we do banner and everything, but when business is business, we both love winning. And he's the most competitive trainer ever. I mean, he's always thinking about how to win, and you've got to be that way. And I try to. It's still 15-3 on the Triple Crown numbers. He got another one last year, of course, but you got to keep working hard to keep up with a guy like him.
As that was shown last year, you got one back on him, and he came back in the Preakness. Squared the ledger again for 2024. Kenny, we should talk some of your runner as well, render judgment in this weekend's Kentucky Derby. And you were telling me yesterday that you've never seen your guy train better.
Well, this one's a little bit complicated in the sense that we didn't think we had any chance of getting in about a week ago. And then when the workouts over the weekend, then we had some defections, and he's going to get in the body of the race. I myself had recommended to the clients that, I think we probably ought to go conservative and let this horse get to winning again. And then as soon as I did that, then the spot opened up, and they actually talked about it and said we'd really like to run. And like Wayne says, it's the dream to get there for a lot of people, and I'm fortunate to have been there. And we're going to give it a go, and he has trained really well. It's a step up for him. He's got to show me a lot more. I mean, we got beat, I think, 6 lengths in the Virginia. We got 4.5 in the Bluegrass, so we're going to have to find something we hadn't seen out of him. But, we're going to, take him back, make a big run, try to find the inside trip, keep our fingers crossed, and maybe they back up to us.
He loves the track. Obviously, he's enjoying himself here at Churchill Downs. Mr. Lukas, before we let you sit down, you were telling a TwinSpires colleague of mine after the post position draw that you celebrate big races with a trip to KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken, on the way home.
Well, I thought that's what I should say in Kentucky. Actually, we don't even do that, but I thought it was a good commercial break, so. You never know when you're going to get an endorsement or something.
I was going to ask you if you were two-piece feed, a bucket, or a zinger burger kind of guy. But you don't go to KFC, is that right?
No, I don't, well, let's just drop that one.
Well, as I said, before we put ourselves through another Kenny Peak wardrobe change, we should thank these absolute legends of Churchill Downs and wish them all the very best this Saturday with their runners in the Kentucky Derby, Mr. Dwayne Lukas and Mr. Kenny McPeak. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Give this man a bourbon and a rooftop party. He has gone all Ivorone on us.
You know, Andrew, I hate to break it to Kenny, but Wayne said that one of the first signs of old age is memory loss. Kenny told that Belmont steak story last year.
That's very true. The other thing about Kenny, he's always been the captain of the let's change the trainer's dinner to the trainer's
Brunch,
breakfast. Yeah. But anyway, here we go. The Japanese, they're getting closer and closer, aren't they? Last year, third with Forever Young and fifth with TO Password. This year, they bring 2 more contenders. And up next, we're going to hear from the connections of Admire Daytona.
For over 150 years, the Kentucky Derby has stood as the most enduring tradition in American sports. And in our time, one stallion is reshaping its legacy. Back-to-back Derby winners. His first son at stud siring another. A dynasty in motion. A motion that again has forward momentum toward Louisville, with another elite crop of 3-year-olds bearing his genes. Spendthrift Farm, home of Into Mischief.
The UAE Derby. Finishing first, Admire Daytona, trained by Yukihiro Kato.
They come into the running in the UAE Derby, and it's Don in the Mood who takes a narrow lead from Heart of Honor, who's trying to respond here through the middle. Admire Daytona fighting back as well. Good go here. A furlong left to travel. Don in the Mood. Heart of Honor picking up the middle now. Heart of Honor working through with Admire Daytona. Admire Daytona stride for stride with Heart of Honor. Good go down to the line. Tight. Admire Daytona maybe, not sure. Photo finish.
Mr. Kato, my first question, I think we've asked this of all of the Japanese contingents that have come over the last few years. How important is the Kentucky Derby to the Japanese racing community?
So it's above the clouds.
In the Hyacinth Stakes, he had a trouble beginning, and in a lot of his races, he came from far back. But then when he went to Dubai in the UAE Derby, he went to the front. I'm wondering, the tactics worked. What went into the thoughts of changing how we approached, how we were going to run them?
日本だと道中後方から来ることが多かったです。だけどドバイだと逃げました。で、そういうことを戦略の変化、そしてこれからケンタッキーダービーに向けてどういうふうにお考えになってますか？
そうですね、客室はそんなに関係ないんですけども、たまたまドバイではコーナーもすぐ近くだったし、スタートも良かったんで逃げる形になりました。客室、あとはもう馬の成長、そこだけですね。
So we don't matter about the positions. That's the strength of this horse. So we come from behind in Japan, and as in Dubai, the corner is very short from the jumps. So that's why we decided to go front. But we can go from any positions. That's a strong point. And as we witness the growing of the horses, we have a confidence from any position at the race.
He had a 5 furlong workout this morning. What's your impression of how he's doing right now and how much he likes the racetrack surface here at Churchill Downs?
今日は5ハロンの追い切りしました。で、そういう風な形で回復してきたこと、そしてこれから今の今日の追い切りのこと、どういう風に思われてますか？
そう、先週の追い切りがすごく軽くて、なんかワーストタイムだと言われたことで、今日は少し早めにやってみようかなと思って、それでポジションはいいポジションを取ようかと思って、そうですね。先週よりもちょっと早くやろうかなと思って。
We saw the SNS that we are the worst time last week in a galloping, breathing. So we feel, but we have confidence about the condition. But also we like to check the condition as well. So we are pushing a little bit from last week. And we are very happy with that. And we are very confident about it.
My last question is, Japanese horses have done very well in the biggest stages all over the world now for about the last 5 or 6 years. What do you attribute that success to as Japan is becoming more and more prominent in racing all over the world?
すごい日本の馬が世界中で活躍している中で、そういうことっていうのはどういうふうな形で考えてらっしゃいますか？
日本の生産馬の質がすごく上がっているから、各国からすごくいい質の馬を輸入して生産力がすごく上がっている。
So the quality of Japanese horses getting up thanks to the importing horse to Japan, and we are very thankful for that, and we are trying our best to catch up these horses.
We thank you for bringing him to the race, and we wish you the best of luck and enjoy the experience. All right, up next, we are going to head to the Bluegrass Stakes, and we are going to welcome to the stage Ian Wilkes and Brendan Walsh.
The Toyota Bluegrass Stakes. Finishing first, Burnham Square, trained by Ian Wilkes. And in second, East Avenue, trained by Brendan Walsh.
Moves out to the center of the racetrack. Coming into the final furlong, Owen Almighty challenging East Avenue. River Tim seeks to join them. Admiral Dennis runs late toward the rail. Burnham Square from the outside. They've got to get East Avenue. He's got the lead in deep stretch. He leads a length and a half. River Thames is still trying. Burnham Square unleashing a final try down to the wire. Burnham Square gets there.
Again?
No, we've enough.
Is your mic working?
I want a rematch.
I think it is.
I don't know. Yeah.
Ian just asked if we could see that replay again.
I haven't beaten him too much the last couple of years.
Ian, a terrific win there from Burnham Square, and really just one blemish on his CV in the last 4 starts. What do you put that one blemish down to?
Well, you're looking at him.
You?
Yeah. I was a little bit easy on him. My little horse, I took it easy. Yeah, I was in Vegas.
Oh, right. It looked like he wanted to do more in his final hit out last weekend, despite the quick time of 59 and 2. Do you think there's plenty left in the tank for Saturday?
Yeah, I think so. You know, I had Carl NASCAR out there, and he said to me, looked like you want to do a little more. So I knew I was okay.
Your Monday morning quarterback.
Yeah, that's it.
Why is he your Monday morning quarterback?
He tells me. He tells me what I do wrong on Saturday.
We'll talk a little bit more about Carl in a second. You've got last year's Kentucky Derby winning jockey Brian Hernandez Jr. Aboard. Lucky you. You guys have got a lot of history together as well. Won the Breeders' Cup Classic back in 2012.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the history between you guys and why Brian Hernandez Jr. is the right jockey for Burnham Square.
Yeah, you know, it took a lot of, I had to educate him for Kenny, to win the Classic, get him right. But, you got confidence with Brian. He's just an ultimate professional.
Brendan, the Bluegrass there, were you more excited or more relieved to see East Avenue put in that great performance?
I think a combination of both. We were glad to just see him go out and run a good race after he threw us for a loop in the Risen Star. And I mean, when we got to thinking about it after, he was, a little unfortunate not to last it out and win. But, he ran a very good race, so we were very, very pleased about that.
With an Aussie and an Irishman up here, I might need Yoshi to come back on stage in a second too. Was it, I guess East Avenue has changed a lot from 2 to 3. What have you learnt about him as a 3-year-old?
You know, he was exceptionally talented 2-year-old. You know, he kind of cruised into his 3-year-old year, probably got caught a little short in the Risen Star. So we had to get a little tougher on him after that, and I think that showed in the bluegrass. You know, we got very aggressive with the horse, but to be fair to him, he took it all on board and he showed up in the bluegrass, and hopefully he can make a step forward in the Derby, and if he does, then I'm sure he'll be competitive again.
He's got plenty of speed to burn. It's probably his biggest asset, but does he need to lead, Brendan?
No, we're going to take him back and drop him
Don't
out.
hold back.
Come with a run.
Let him run.
If he's got one horse behind him turning for home, that's exactly what we planned. So that's as much as I'm going to say on the matter.
You want him to go hard and fast.
I'm trying to confuse everybody.
Well, I want to see you on the front. Come on.
No shot. I'm going to take him back.
You can't take back.
Got to hang out the back there for a while and bide our time. Do a Calvin Burrell on it.
Look at these PPs. He's one on the front end.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
Wilksy, you're obviously chasing your first Kentucky Derby winner as a trainer, but you were around years ago with Carl and Street Sense and Unbridled, so you've had that experience as a track work rider and assistant trainer. You just mentioned Carl before as your Monday morning quarterback. How significant has he been in your life and your family's life, Carl?
Oh, tremendous, you know, for Tracy and I, you know, Carl and Wanda are our American parents, you know. He's been, I can't explain enough what he has been to us. As, you know, but I do have one up on him. He's never won a bluegrass, I did. But he's 2 up on me in the Derby.
Right. You actually got kicked out of the country once as well. You're an American citizen now, but did Carl help you get back in?
Yeah, we come back. Yeah. It was the day after the Breeders' Cup Classic we had to leave. Our visa was up. We were gone.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Gosh, lucky it happened then and not now. You might struggle to get back in.
I pay my tariffs.
Now, Brendan, you won the Oaks a couple of years ago with Pretty Mischievous for the same owners, Godolphin. Did that experience on the first Friday of May give you a taste for chasing and a thirst for victory on the first Saturday in May?
For sure, Andrew. You know, it was an unbelievable experience. I mean, we've been lucky enough. We've won some nice races down through the year, but it was extra special to win an Oaks. You know, like people, you know, other trainers will tell you, oh yeah, you win Oaks or a Derby. It's such an unbelievable experience, and you know, even to be just part of this, like with, you know, the trainers that were up here before me and that are going to come up after me. I mean, it's unbelievable. Of course, all led by Wayne. I'm not going to name any other names, but it's just a privilege to be part of it and an honor, and hopefully it's. You know, it's my second Derby runner. Hopefully, there'll be many more after. But it's just, yeah. I mean, it's what everybody wants to do, and it's the race that everybody wants to win. I mean, when I came over here, you know, coming from Europe, you thought about Epsom Derbies and Royal Ascot and all that. But when you come here and you're here for a while, there's only one race that everybody wants to win. So it's just great to be a part of it.
Biggest race on the planet, the Kentucky Derby. Good luck on Saturday. Wilksy, I just wanted to ask you too, this is really quite phenomenal. Obviously, we've got an Australian native here, and we have Brian Lynch as well, who's also in the field with Owen Almighty. Now, Brian and Ian, in a country that is landmass the same size as the United States of America, grew up around 30 miles from each other, which is quite phenomenal to think. Here's these guys now 10,000 miles away at Churchill Downs in Louisville, Kentucky, with runners in the, as I just said, biggest race on the planet. You and Lynchy, you've got to have some stories about him, don't you, growing up or from over the years?
It's funny, yeah. He's a year older than me. Yeah,
right?
but he tells me the only thing I knew about him when I was younger is his football boots running over top of me.
That'd be rugby boots as well,
Yeah.
I imagine. Yeah, right. All right, gentlemen, before I let you go, We've all got funny accents up here. So I just want to play a little game. And the winner gets a packet of Tim Tams. Now this is Australia's most famous cookie, named after the 1958 Kentucky Derby winner of the same name, Tim Tam. The owner at the time was over here and named this biscuit, which has since become infamous in Australia after the 1958 Kentucky Derby winner. What we're going to do is get you to call the final furlong of that 1958 Kentucky Derby in your best American accent. Brendan, you can go first. I've printed it out for you just to help you. And the crowd is going to help us decide the winner and who gets the Tim Tam. So over to you, Brendan. When you're ready, the 1958 Kentucky Derby. Here we go.
In an American accent.
In your best American accent.
And it's Tim Tam charging hard on the outside. Lincoln Road fights on gamely, but here comes Tim Tam. They come to the wire and Tim Tam wins the 84th running of the Kentucky Derby.
Oh, pretty good. Pretty good. All right.
Okay, here's the Tim Tams.
You ready to go, Wilksy? Good luck. Over to you, sir.
Okay. And it's Tim Tam charging hard on the outside.
American accent. American.
That's what I'm trying. Lincoln Road fights gamely. And here comes Tim Tam. Down to the wire, Tim Tam. Tim Tam wins the 84 running of the Kentucky Derby. What a hell of a biscuit.
What do we think, folks? Should it go to Brendan? Or should we give it to Ian? Sounds like a dead heat to me, boys. There you go. Thank you. Thank you. Good luck. Good luck, mate. Brendan Walsh and Ian Wilkes there. We wish them both the best with their runners on Saturday. Coming up next, we just mentioned Brian Lynch. And we are going to have a look at the Tampa Bay Derby and the win from Owen Almighty.
The Tampa Bay Derby. Finishing first, Owen Almighty, trained by Brian Lynch.
Still waiting for that seam to arrive as Owen Almighty turns him in. Owen Almighty to the 8th pole, 2 lengths in front of Chancer McPatrick, who tries to come after that one, but Owen Almighty's 3 lengths in front. Chancer McPatrick, a final 16th. Hill Road up the inside. It's Owen Almighty in front. Owen Almighty by 4. Owen, the all-powerful Owen Almighty, wins the Tampa Bay Derby.
All right, and Hunter Rankin joins me. He is the president of Flying Dutchman, the owners of Owen Almighty. Thanks for joining us, Hunter.
Yeah, thanks, Brian.
That was a gate to wire win there from Owen Almighty in the Tampa Bay Derby. You've drawn the parking lot on Saturday. You're going to be shaking hands with the fans. Is it straight to the front, same style?
Yeah, might as well. We'll just, get there as fast as we can.
Okay, and he's by Breeders' Cup Sprint winner, Speightstown. Brian has been quite open about his, concerns over the 1.25 miles, but has anything changed, since the Bluegrass, his run after that Tampa Bay Derby, that's got you a little bit optimistic and changed your mind over the last couple of weeks?
I would say, look, this is a very nice horse, and I got to say a couple things about Brian and his family. Brian Lynch has been a godsend to us, and Erin, his wife, is going through chemo right now, and she's here, and she's effing amazing, and we're so proud. We are so proud to be involved with such great people. And these 2 people that are sitting right there are the reason we're here, and they are the reason that this horse has been able to showcase what he's able to do. And I don't know if he's able to get a mile and a quarter. I have no freaking idea. But I know one thing. This horse has the constitution of a really good horse. It's not going to bother him if he can't. And if he can, he'll be right there. But these two people and their team are everything to us. And I love you, Brian, and I love you, Aaron. And I'm so proud to be a part of them.
That's awesome, man. Beautiful, beautiful words, Hunter. I was talking to Brian earlier, and I know that the feeling is very much mutual as well, and he's got a lot of love for you and the owners. We were just touching a little bit on Ian and Brian's relationship growing up so close together in Australia and all that kind of stuff. Now, Brian actually came over to America to be a professional bull rider on the American rodeo scene.
Yeah.
Pretty phenomenal, isn't it?
Worked out well.
I was going to say, what do you think, and I asked Brian something similar the other day, do you think Brian Lynch, the bull rider from 20 years ago, would be pretty proud of Brian Lynch, the Kentucky Derby trainer? He's had 2 starters now in the last few years.
I don't know if he'd be proud, but I don't even know if he wants to run the horse. But I absolutely love him, and the owners, they love him more than you can imagine. So I think I hope he'd be proud of himself, but fuck, I don't know.
Tell us about the owners.
It's a family out of Oregon. They're absolutely wonderful people. You can't imagine how great they are. They couldn't be here. He couldn't be here. So, but they are wonderful people. They'll be here all weekend, and they're from Oregon. They tried to save Oregon racing. They couldn't do that, but they're here, and they've invested in Kentucky. They've invested in this sport, and you know, they're beautiful people. So we're really happy to be involved with them.
I think after hearing a few words from you tonight, Hunter, that a lot of people will be cheering on Owen Almighty this weekend. We wish Brian and Aaron all the best, and Team Owen Almighty all the best in this Saturday's Kentucky Derby. Thank you for your time. Thanks, mate. All right, up next, we're going to delve into the other Japanese runner in this weekend's Kentucky Derby, the one that's going to be ridden by the man they call the Magic Man, João Moreira.
The Fukuryu Stakes. Finishing first, Luxor Cafe, trained by Noriyuki Hori.
ゴールデンクラウド直線コースへと向かってきます。逃げる4番の伊沢ですが、外から11番ルクソールカフェ、あっという間にかわして先頭に立って突き放す。200を切りました。2番手一気に広がってイブホテブ内からは1番ゴールデンクラウド、外から名将随分も追い込んできますが、差は開く一方、11番ルクソールカフェ6馬身リード、ルクソールカフェ圧勝ゴールイン。
Call me crazy, but you don't look like Mr. Hori.
Sorry, I've never been really good at cosplay. So unfortunately, you've got me today. I'm Kate Hunter. I'm the Churchill Downs representative for Japan.
Kate has been bringing a lot of these Japanese runners over for several years now. Kate, last year, Forever Young came within 2 noses of winning the Kentucky Derby. T.O. Password actually ran a remarkable race coming from another galaxy to get up for 5th. It seems like every year they're getting a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better. What do you attribute that to?
Well, I think one thing that people aren't really paying as close attention to is the quality of racing actually in Japan, especially the dirt racing. And a really good way to do that is to look deeply at the Japan road to the Kentucky Derby. You've got 4 races, the Katalia Show, the Zen Nippon Nisai Yushin, the Hyasen Stakes, and the Fukuru Stakes. All 4 of those have produced, each one of them ends up producing about 80% of their winners go on to be graded stakes winners or graded stakes placed. Same thing with and out of that there's about 50 that go on to be, you know, maybe even like graded Group 1 winners. Then you've got 11 champions out of all of that list over the past 20 years, and including horses that most of you won't know, like Furioso, Copano Ricky, Gold Dream, but you do know Cafe Faro, you do know Lemon Pop, and those horses came from that series of races. So I think that if you dig deep into data that is probably in Japanese that you won't be able to understand, you will quickly see that the Japanese dirt racing is much better than it looks on American form.
And Cafe Faro is actually Luxor Cafe's full brother, and Luxor Cafe is actually a half-brother to Regal Glory, who was a multiple Grade 1 winner for Chad Brown on turf. So there's a lot of American connections with him as well. Derma Sotogake 2 years ago ran a deceptively good race to run 6th after a tough beginning. He ended up running 2nd in the Breeders' Cup Classic. Forever Young ran 3rd in the Derby, 3rd in the Breeders' Cup Classic, won the Saudi Cup. So like we talked about, these horses just seem to be getting better and better. I'm wondering this year, how is Luxor Cafe and Admire Daytona viewed in terms of how the Japanese runners have been progressing?
Well, I think they're an exciting pair. You've got a horse like Luxor Cafe, which is just a powerhouse. The way he ran in the Fukuru Stakes is just phenomenal. And given the history of those races, it gives you a lot of hope. Then Daytona just showed that heart that you can't train, you can't breed. It's there or it's not there. And it was an absolute thrill to be able to watch him down that stretch in Maidan.
I'm wondering the long-term vision for the American Triple Crown and Japanese runners. How much do they want to see this expand? Do they want to try to get more horses over here? Do they want to run the Preakness? Do they want to run the Belmont? What do you see this going in the next 5 to 10 years?
I don't know how the Americans feel about it, but I hope we are in all of the races, all of the time, every year. But I get the feeling, based on how the horses are nominating for the Triple Crown and coming over for the Breeders' Cup, that there is a sincere hunger to come back to some of the roots of Japanese racing, which is with the Kentucky Derby and Sunday Silence and the Breeders' Cup and Sunday Silence. You've got so many connections there that, you know, Japan and America are tied together in that blue blood, and they're coming back to take some of the trophies home for themselves.
There are handicappers watching on the live stream that are really curious about how Japanese horses are trained, and it's different than American training. So they see, and the trainer of Admire Daytona alluded to this, he had the slowest workout last week, and they wanted to go a little bit faster. But they don't work like American horses do, where, 58 and change, 59. Just a little bit of a description about the difference between the style of training Japanese horses into a race like this.
I was going to say, if I got this question one more time, I was going to jump off the stage, but it's a bit too shallow. I think I'd be okay. I don't think the Japanese train particularly that different, in the sense that I think a lot of the Americans tend to do faster works a little bit earlier, and the Japanese tend to do slightly slower, stronger workers more on a regular kind of a speed. Like they're 2 strong, slower works versus 1 really fast blowout work. Not all of them are going out for a super long period of time. Their main thing they do is they warm up and they cool down under tack. So I think that in Japan there's a lot more difference, because you'll see them using their uphill gallops, which is much more European style. They love their wood chips, which is a much softer, forgiving surface for joints and the horse's body as a whole. So I think that helps them a lot back home. And so when they're shipping over, like let's say Luxor is, they've got that added benefit of coming over without having pounded themselves a little harder on the harder foreign dirt surfaces. But I don't think that ultimately there's too much difference. I think that it's just a slight little nuance that's just a little different, that people really like to kind of hook onto it. But I do think that the footwork they do in the morning and the shoot, no one does it this year really, but in the past couple of years we've had a couple of people that enjoy their figure eights. I'd recommend it, guys. It's really good for the horses.
Well, I find it fascinating every year when they come over. They add an element of an excitement and mystery to the Kentucky Derby. So look forward to this Saturday, seeing them compete, and in the years to come as well. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Kate Hunter, everybody. All right, next up, we're going to go to my backyard. I don't know if you could tell, but I've got a little bit of an accent from Brooklyn, New York. We're going to head to the Wood Memorial and welcome up Todd Pletcher to talk about the Wood.
The Wood Memorial. Finishing first, Rodriguez, trained by Bob Baffert. In second, Grande, trained by Todd Pletcher.
Rodriguez turns up for home and has the lead. It's Rodriguez trying to open up, is doing just that. Rodriguez has now taken 3, almost 4 out of the field. Grande in the center of the racetrack is chased all the time here by Captain Cook. It is Rodriguez. Rodriguez with a 16th left to go. Rodriguez is opening up. It's a front-running score. The 100th running goes to Rodriguez. Mike Smith win it. They win the Wood Memorial.
Jack Wolf, if you're still in the crowd, please make your way to the stage. But in the meantime, I'll start with you, Todd. And we didn't see it in that replay, but your guy may as well have been racing in Manhattan. He was that wide around the first turn and pretty much for the entire trip as well. How pleased were you with the way he finished off his race?
We were really pleased with the way he finished, as you said. And, you know, it's hard to appreciate unless you saw how wide he was in the first turn, and he kind of had to check off heels and got fanned out 6-7 wide on the elbow of the turn. And you know, at that point, I thought he was going to have a pretty tough time making any real impact, especially when the winner kind of got to walk the dog in the front end and won a whole lot of pace. But he closed resolutely, and you know, I thought for only his third start, it was a big effort.
Yeah, come on up, Jack. Grab a mic. Get involved. Jack Wolf, ladies and gentlemen, the founder of Starlight Racing, owners of both Rodriguez and Citizen Bull, standing in for Bob Baffert. Todd, while we're still talking about Grande, he's mostly avoided kickback in his relatively short time as a racehorse. Is that any concern?
Yeah, it's definitely a concern. I mean, this race appears like it's going to have plenty of pace. He's probably going to find himself in a position where he's further back than he's ever been and getting a little more kickback than he ever has. He did get a little bit in his debut, broke from the rail going a mile and was able to work his way out into the clear. So got a little bit of kickback there and a little bit in the wood. But, you know, he's a pretty tough colt, and I think he should handle it okay.
Jack, you and Todd have got a bit of history. Any funny stories for us?
Say again?
You and Todd have got a little history together. Any funny stories for us?
Yeah, you know, I talked to Kenny a couple weeks ago, and he promised not to tell age jokes about Wayne, and Wayne promised not to tell fat jokes about him. So, Todd, please don't do any vodka jokes on me. We've known each other for 25 years, and he's brought us to the Derby many times and had a great experience. And actually, Kenny brought us with Harlan's Holiday, so I've had some great experiences. Yeah.
And let's talk Rodriguez for a little while. Obviously went straight to the lead and made all in that race there. Does he do the same on Saturday? I know you're not the trainer, you don't have to say that, but from that four-post, does he just go straight to the lead?
Wouldn't you think so, Todd? I mean,
well, I don't know. What are you going to do with Citizen Bull?
I'm at a trainer's dinner. I've been coming to this thing for 20 years. I love to see the trainers up here. Now you got some idiot owner that doesn't know anything about training. But just from, and I don't talk to Bob about the training or anything. You know, Tom Ryan's the managing partner. But I mean, just you would think the horse would need to have the lead to 4-horse. And the 1-horse that Churchill made us go into the 1-hole, you know, that's a joke. Who knows? I mean, you would think he would have to go, wouldn't you?
Go.
Go.
Who would you prefer, Citizen Bull or Rodriguez, Todd?
Journalism.
I was going to ask you who you liked in the morning, so journalism?
No, he looks fantastic. I'm happy for Michael, and he's done a phenomenal job preparing the horse. He looks great.
And Michael, obviously a student of yours from a few years back. Do you feel a sense of pride given the success that he's been having, not just with journalism, but I mean now that he's here with the favourite of the Kentucky Derby?
Yeah, he's, like I said, he's done a tremendous job, not only with this horse, but building a stable, and yeah, I'm really happy and proud of him.
Nice one.
Yeah, I've known Michael since he's worked with Todd, and the reason we had success at Todd's barn was probably because of Michael, right, Todd, when you say?
Solely him, yep.
All right, well, gentlemen, thank you very much. All the very best with your horses. You stay up here because we're going to talk Citizen Bull now.
Okay.
But Todd, good luck on Saturday. It must be a little bit more relaxing for you this week, just having one runner as opposed to your regular 4 or 5, I guess.
Sort of. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Todd. Cheers. Todd Pletcher, everybody. All right, we're going to be joined shortly on the stage by Michael McCarthy. We were just talking about him then, the trainer of journalism. Firstly, we're just going to have a look back at Citizen Bull's Robert B. Lewis win, and then we'll go straight into the Santa Anita Derby and watch journalism's win as Michael McCarthy comes up and joins us on stage.
The Robert B. Lewis. Finishing first, Citizen Bull, trained by Bob Baffert.
Citizen Bull still in control. Madikit Road trying to get into second, past the furlong pole, and Citizen Bull better than ever coming to the 16th pole. He is back in a big way. Citizen Bull leads them all the way. Another Robert B. Lewis for Bob Baffert.
The Santa Anita Derby. Finishing first, Journalism, trained by Michael McCarthy.
They're at the top of the stretch in the Santa Anita Derby, and here's Baeza. Baeza forges past Citizen Bull, and Journalism is kicking into high gear. Journalism and Baeza in a Santa Anita Derby showdown. It is Journalism just in front of Baeza. Write this down. Journalism is the best in the West.
The best in the West indeed. Journalism trained by Michael McCarthy, who joins us up on stage. And Michael, we didn't see it in that replay, but Journalism had to overcome a little bit of adversity in the Santa Anita Derby. You probably wouldn't have liked it at the time, but in hindsight, are you glad that he experienced what he did in the Santa Anita Derby?
Yeah, certainly with a little bit of a smaller field and bunched up there from the 3/8 pole to about the quarter pole. I was certainly glad to see him kind of find his way out of trouble and hit his best stride late. He'll need that definitely here come Saturday.
Just come stand over here for me if you can, and we'll face up there. Why does Journalism deserve to be the favourite of this year's Derby, Michael?
I just think his body of work this year has been exemplary. As a 2-year-old, 3 races in 7 weeks, culminating with a win in the Los Alamitos Futurity. Got a little sick after that. His race in the San Felipe was very, very impressive, and then to come back and annex something like that in the Santa Anita Derby. Rich history out there on the West Coast. A little unfortunate some of these horses this year suffered with some points and things like that. Leaves Baeza on the outside looking in, but always a good event and plenty of class coming every year from the West Coast.
Should the rest of the field be thankful that Baez is not in the race at the moment?
I thought that was a very good race. I don't think I need to say it was a sneaky good race, but I was glad we got in trouble with the 3/8 pole and not the quarter pole. We probably wouldn't be standing here talking today.
Right, yeah. Citizen Bull. Bob has said to put a line through that Santa Anita Derby. We saw a great win in the Robert B. Lewis as the 2-year-old champion came back as a 3-year-old and got the job done there. Jack, how are you feeling about the Bulls' chances heading into Saturday from the 1 pole?
Well, I'm a bit of a contrarian anyway. And when everybody says, you know, the speed is all inside and the speed's going to win, it sometimes doesn't. But, I mean, the horse, I think Bob even said that he didn't have the horse right for the last race. He's a bit heavy. Obviously, by his work schedule, he's going to be sharper this time. And hopefully you can put a line through the last race.
Okay. Michael, Aaron Wellman, Eclipse Thoroughbred Partners, been a huge supporter of yours over the years, and you guys go way back as well. Can you tell us a little bit about the history between you two when you used to hang out at Santa Anita and all those other Californian tracks?
Yeah, we sat close to each other at the races on the weekends at Santa Anita. His parents' box wasn't too far away from where I used to sit with some friends. Aaron's been a great supporter of ours, and so very thankful to be able to get here for Eclipse Thoroughbreds and all the other partners as well. It means a lot to us.
And your jockey, Umberto Rispoli, the wily Italian who spent a lot of time in Hong Kong, he was asked just before the Santa Anita Derby if he could describe Journalism's personality. And he said, actually, his personality is a little bit like Michael's. He doesn't really want to talk and just gets the job done. Is that an
Clock's
accurate?
ticking here. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. No, Umberto's got a pretty good insight on some things, and maybe the horse and I are a little bit alike. We just kind of tried to get dialed in here the last couple months with him, and I think we've done a good job of that, both Umberto, the horse, and myself.
And tell us about your family. I know that they're your biggest supporters. It's Erin and Stella. And
Aaron and Stella sitting right over there. Glad to have them here tonight.
Sitting down there, your daughter and your wife. And how important is it for you in your career to have their support? Because they are your biggest cheerleaders and your biggest fans.
Yeah,
aren't
it's
they?
great. I think this is more of a lifestyle than a job here. So everybody in this room has sacrificed something for their family one way or the other. So thank you, guys.
Yeah, nice. Michael McCarthy, everybody, trainer of the Kentucky Derby favourite journalism. And Mr.
Hold
Wolf.
on a second. Oh. Everybody's been sitting up here dragging along all night long. I want to say something here. So this is a full circle moment for Jack Wolf and I.
Yeah.
2006, my first Kentucky Derby working for Todd Pletcher. Jack Wolf, Starlight Sale, ran a horse named Keyed Entry. Didn't finish up that well that day, but we've had a lot of good times together. So special to be standing up here with him.
That's awesome. You got something to say, Jack?
Well, I mean, we've been friends for years, and he taught my 18-year-old how to ride a pony, and we named him Cedric.
Yep.
So we've known each other a long time, and actually, I think Michael lived with me when he first came up here.
Spent a few nights there.
And after his experience downtown, I invited you back the other day, but
Yeah.
I don't think the wife wants to come.
Yeah.
But thank you, Michael. Good luck to you.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having us.
Thanks, Michael. Good luck with journalism. Jack, good luck with Rodriguez and Citizen Bull. Michael McCarthy and Jack Wolf, everybody. Thank you. God, I got some marks. Thanks, gents. All right. We're into the final furlong, folks. We're about to wrap things up. Somehow I've landed 3 microphones in my hand. I don't even need any of them. Coming up next, a quick message from our sponsor, and then Bill Mott and Safi Joseph will join us up on stage.
As a veterinarian with Nutramax Laboratories, the trusted makers of Cosequin, I had the opportunity to be a part of a team that takes our passion as horse owners and riders to help reimagine equine health. We're taking the innovation that Cosequin is known for and pushing it further through scientific research and high-quality ingredients. The #1 veterinary recommended brand is again at the forefront of what total horse health should look like. When performance matters, choose Cosequin.
The Curlin Florida Derby. In second, Sovereignty, trained by Bill Mott. In third, Neo Equos, trained by Safi Joseph.
Tapan Street swung to their center of the racetrack. They're an eighth of a mile from home. Here comes Tapan Street, surging forward now to take the lead. Sovereignty runs at him from the outside with a 16th to go. If you're looking for a shortcut to Louisville, take a ride on Tapan Street. He wins the Florida Derby by a length and a half.
Bill Mott and Safi Joseph. Bill, been 41 years since you started your first Kentucky Derby horse, Tailored Special, 1984. I'm wondering, how's the experience changed since then, whether it be the entire week, getting the horse ready, everything that goes along with it?
It never gets old. You know, it's fun to come here. I mean, I think this is one of the biggest weeks in racing, you know, throughout the year, and I think Churchill Downs puts on a great group of races, not only the Kentucky Derby, but all the undercard races. And we look forward to this week all year, and naturally it's always great if you're lucky enough to have one in the Kentucky Derby. But I think I'm more comfortable with going into it now than I was, how many years ago?
41.
Oh, shit. Anyway, but it never gets old.
Sovereignty won the Street Sense back in the fall here. It's always good to get a win over the track, but he also beat what would become the Arkansas Derby and Louisiana Derby winners in that race. It's a key race angle, is a popular thing the handicappers like to do. Does that give you more confidence that he's won here and beat, obviously, very good horses that day?
Well, I think the biggest factor is that he's won over the racetrack. I'm sure the other horses that he beat have probably progressed since then. Of course, I believe our horses progressed since then. I think he's he's advanced as well, and the group that was in that race, they're not exactly the same horses that they were, 6 months ago.
Safi, Neo Equos, the 115th Florida bred to run in the Kentucky Derby. 4 of them have won. They're big names, heavyweights. Foolish Pleasure, Affirmed, Unbridled, Silver Charm. Shout out to Silver Charm, who at 31 years old is the oldest living Kentucky Derby winner. This is your 4th, yeah, that's worth a round of applause, I think. Your 4th Kentucky Derby starter, Safi. What have you learned bringing over, 4 horses here in the process of getting a horse ready, and how has your approach changed at all?
You get beat a lot. Yeah, the Derby's a tough race to win, obviously, and we brought White Bar, and he didn't run well, and this horse is not in his league, but you know what, he earned his spot, and we're going to give him a chance.
I think he's such a cool horse because even in races where he looks like he's going to be beaten at the 8th pole, looks like when he switches leads, he just digs in and gives you all you got. It looks like a really hard trier. Is that your take on him? Yeah,
that's exactly it. As I said, the distance is unknown, but as he's run longer, he hasn't got beat far behind Bill's horse, who's probably one of the better horses in the race. So as I said, the Derby trip matters a lot. He's a 40-pace horse. Hopefully he'll run the race of his life, and a lot of horses won't. He's never left South Florida before. He's trained at Palm Meadows, trained at Gulfstream, only run at Gulfstream. Your thoughts on first time shipping him? How's he handled it, and how does he look over the track? Yeah, he's a pretty calm horse mentally, and he handled it fine, so I don't think he's going to have a problem with that. I mean, the class is a question mark. Yeah. Bill, back to Sovereignty. Were you expecting that big of an effort from him first off the layoff? Was that the plan? Because you've always been known by handicappers that, all right, the first time out, maybe not 100% fit. Second time out, gets better. With this horse, he was just ready to go first time back.
Well, he was, and so I think he overcame the short stretch at Gulfstream and maybe a bit of a speed favoring track. So we were extremely pleased with his race. I mean, I thought on that day going into it that he didn't have to win, but he pulled it off. He showed a lot of determination and got into his best stride the last 16th of a mile. And with his running style, I think we're optimistic that he gets the 10 furlongs, and I think that's something that very few of us know, until they get 10 furlongs, you really don't know. They've got to prove it out there on the racetrack.
One of the things that drives me nuts as a racing fan, and especially when you take a look at horse racing Twitter and go down rabbit holes, horses are not allowed to lose anymore. If a horse runs second, gets beat, there's just a chink in the armor and they knock him. Sovereignty ran a tremendous race in the Florida Derby. What was your take on his effort from the Fountain of Youth to the Florida Derby? I thought he ran just fine, and do you expect him to take another step forward?
He ran a good race in the Florida Derby. I wasn't naturally I was disappointed that we didn't win, but I wasn't disappointed in the horse that, he showed up. I think the horse that eventually won snuck away from us around the turn. He ran the turn better than we did, and we had to make up all the ground, coming down the stretch. Churchill Downs offers a little bit more of a stretch, for a stretch run and for a stretch running horse. And, I think that bodes well for us.
Safi, people handicapping the Derby on paper, looks like there's a ton of early speed. A lot of early speed inside, although apparently East Avenue's taken back and going to run like Street Sense if we listen to his trainer. But when you look at a race on paper, you have a speed horse, he's down inside. Does that change your approach to how you want to go into this race at all, or do you just want to let him run his race and how he likes to go?
Well, I was talking to Bill, and he said we have one job to do is go to the lead and make sure set it up for him. No, realistically, we like to get the horses. We like to get a forward spot. There is speed in the race. I don't think we're that fast, and if we can sit maybe 4th, 5th, that would give us our best chance.
We really appreciate it, guys. Thanks for your time, and best of luck on Saturday to both of you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Now I got all the microphones, Andrew. I think we're just about set to close things out because we have one more prep race to go. We are going to be joined here by the connections of those that ran in the Jeff Ruby Stakes.
The Jeff Ruby Stakes. Finishing first, Final Gambit, trained by Brad Cox. And in second, Flying Mohawk, trained by Whit Beckman.
And Maximum Promise is hitting his stride. It's California Burrito, Jacoso. Here comes Final Gambit to the far outside, rolling home like a good thing. Check out Final Gambit and Luan Machado. They win the Jeff Ruby Stakes going away.
All right, well, we'll get the obvious question over with for both of you because it applies to both. Jeff Ruby Stakes, 2 horses. Neither of them have run on dirt. Brad, we'll start with you. How's he look over the dirt, and what do you think come Saturday?
He's trained well. I mean, he's doing great. That's all you can ask for, and I think he'll give a big effort. I mean, he's trained well here since the Ruby, and see how it goes. Got to get a trip.
Same question to you, Whit.
Yeah, he looks fantastic. I see no reason why he's not going to run good.
Okay, fair enough. Brad, Final Gambit's last couple of races looked like he was in an impossible spot. I think 2 starts back in the maiden race, Tony Cowell, through no fault, because I thought the same thing, said, you know, he's got a ton of ground to make up, or he's 12 lengths out of it. Where does that turn of foot come from, where he goes from like last to first in a 16th of a mile?
I guess you got to I have to thank Juddmonte for that great breeding program, world-class farm, and you know, he's a good horse. Yeah, I mean, his maiden win, it was, you know, finished up full of run. Still learning at that point. I think he's continuing to learn, but he's definitely put it together in his last few races, and I think the Ruby showed that, you know, a mile and a quarter shouldn't be an issue.
It's interesting to have you both on stage because both horses broke side by side, and you both kind of got wiped out by the same horse coming out of the gate, California Burrito. I'll start with you, Whit, because your horse was farther back than he typically was. Did that kind of change everything for that race, and does he need to be that far back to run his best?
No, I think, you know, obviously he didn't run the dirt yet, but in his turf races, he was more forwardly placed. I think victim of circumstance, you know, Joe made a great trip from where he was, but we didn't intend it, but everything turned out pretty well.
And for you, Brad, I think your horse was right next to him and caught the brunt of it.
Yeah, same thing. I mean, he just kind of got somewhat, I wouldn't use the word eliminated because obviously he finished up well, but, you know, I think he could maybe break and be a little bit more forward if, you know, clean break, and he's obviously got some speed around him. They should get away from him, so he should be maybe left alone, and he can run forward and chase some of the speed and see how it goes.
Whit, you ran your first starter last year in the Derby with Anna Marie. What did you take away from that experience in terms of learning how to get a horse prepared, and how have you applied that this year?
It's the same thing. I think as Steve said, don't change anything. Just use the process you used to get to the point you're at. And Steve said the same thing. Don't stress out about any of it because you really can't control what happens once you get him in the gates.
You're taking the blinkers off for Saturday?
Yeah, we're going to pull him off. I mean, we put him on early. He was just kind of on and off a bit. But as he's, you know, mature, he's figured things out a lot. His works have been fantastic without him. So just kind of with the trip and everything, I don't want him kind of going a little, you know, too quick early. I'd like him to kind of, you know, sit back, relax, settle, and, you know, hopefully that'll help him.
Brad, last question. He went from here to there in terms of speed figures, every speed figure, from his maiden win to the Ruby. Do you think maybe he was just getting speed figures that might have been a little bit less than what he was actually running, or did he really improve that much? And are you concerned that maybe he'll regress off that?
I don't know how much I would believe his race 2 back speed figure. I thought visually the race was very, very impressive. Next morning, I remember pulling up at the barn, pulling it up once I arrived at the barn. I was like, wow. I mean, didn't get much credit for what I thought was visually a very impressive race. So obviously move forward in the Ruby, and once again, I think another 1/8 of a mile only suit him.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, because every time we have a horse run for Ethan that runs well, always comes back with a buyer lower than we think, and we think that it's getting personal at this point with us and Ethan. But no, I agree with you completely. Listen, guys, Rich Strike, Animal Kingdom have both done it. You guys are live. Best of luck on Saturday. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think we're out of races, Andrew. I think we have a couple of more videos to show, and then we're going to wrap up the evening, guys.
It's going away at the end. Lady Aurelia and John Velasquez. Oh, she's won by 2 or 3 in great style.
Tepin pushed out though, wins for America and lands the Queen Anne.
All right, everybody. Just one thing left for us to do tonight. Hopefully everybody's had a good time. Have we all had a good time tonight? How good listening to all the trainers. Legend trainers. So thanks to Tech Sutton, we've got a $2,500 voucher that we're going to give away to one of the trainers tonight. Jenny McGahey has just done a randomised draw, haven't you, Jenny? Yes, she has. And she's just informed me who the winner is of this $2,500 voucher. And it goes to Mr. Brad Cox. Congratulations, Brad. Go and see Jenny. You don't have to come back up here. Jenny will sort you out. That concludes our evening this evening. I was just mentioning Jenny. Jenny does a fantastic job organising this, so thank you very much to Jenny. Thanks very much to Chauncey as well, and to all of the directors and everybody at the Kentucky Thoroughbred Association. Thank you to you too, Darren.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Have a fantastic Derby week. Hope you find plenty of winners.